Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Meredith, one of the Husqvarna Viking educators, and I'm excited to be celebrating National Embroidery Month with you. And there are so many different things when it comes to embroidery. So there is embroidery designs, there's embroidery machines, there's embroidery hoops and stabilizer and thread and needles, so many different things when it comes to embroidery. And so I wanted to just tackle hoops today because there is a huge wide range of hoops that we carry, from tiny small ones to large size ones and everything in between, and different types of hoops too for different types of projects. So I'm going to go through a couple of them. I don't have all of them here with me, but I do have at least one of all the different types. And I'm just going to talk with you about them, show them to you, hopefully get you inspired to want to try something new with one of these hoops as well. And then I'm also going to do a little bit of hooping. I've done a live in the past, and you can find that on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page under videos, where I go through all things hooping. And I spend a lot of time on hooping shirts, hooping, just different types of materials, floating, all of that. So go check that one out there. But I am going to just show you the basics to hooping if you haven't embroidered before and it's something you're wanting to try. So we'll go through how to hoop your fabric and things like that. But I want to show you first so you can get a good perspective over what size range hoops we have. So this is one of our smallest hoops. This is the 40 millimeter spring hoop. So it comes apart just like that and it sits back in on itself. It's easier when you have something to have in it. But this is great for handkerchiefs, for dress shirts, if you're wanting to add like a little monogram to the cuff of a dress shirt or up here, or add like a little monogram or something to the corner of a handkerchief, or even those, they're little fabric coasters, so many different things, but this is a great one for that. And then the biggest one that we have, I've got to get everything out of the way to pull this up to show you. This is going to be the Mega Turnable Hoop. So this is the hoop right here. This is a 450 by 450. So it's a little over 17 inches by 17 inches. And then to give you some perspective, this is the smallest. So look at how big the difference of these two are. It's crazy. It's wild. So most of you may be familiar with the Majestic hoop. And so that's going to be this one here. This is a 350 by 360 turnable hoop. But when the Epic 3 came out, we got a bigger hoop. I mean, why not just keep making them bigger? So just to show you the difference in the sizes, the Majestic hoop actually fits, if I can get my fingers, actually fits within the Mega Turnable hoop. Isn't that crazy? So there's so many different things you can do with both of these hoops. So if you don't have an Epic 3, this is still a large size hoop, 360 by 350. And I can't do that millimeter conversion in my head right now. But these are great for pillows, like decorative pillows you're wanting, the back of a denim jacket. If you have a big center quilt block, it would be great for that. So many different things you can do with it. So such a wide range of hoops we have. But I'm going to go through, first let's go through just the basics of hooping. So I'm going to take you over here and we're going to just do a little bit of fabric hooping. So I have a 120 by 120 hoop right here. And there are two parts to the hoop. Let's talk about the hoop first. So you have this inner piece right here, and then you have an outer piece as well. So you will notice that when you put these two together, there are these little arrows. Let me see if I can hold it up so you can see. Hopefully you can see those arrows right there. You want those arrows touching. So we don't want to do our hoop like this with those arrows up here. We don't want to do our hoop like this where you can't see the arrows, even though they're at the bottom. We want to see both of those arrows side to side right there. Another little thing that I do sometimes with some of my hoops, I don't know that I have any. Oh, I do. Here, let me show you this one here. Because I go to retreat and different classes and things like that, I will monogram or just write my initials on the inside and the outside. And so I know that if I line those two up, that I'm good to go as well. Because sometimes these little markers are hard to see as well. So that's just another little suggestion if you wanted to do it that way. So you have the two different pieces. I'm going to take this one out really quick to show you. And then you have this little connection right here. So once this center piece is in with your stabilizer, whatever it is, we're going to close the clamp and then we're going to tighten the screw down. But whenever you're hooping things to start out with, you want to have this open and loosen just a little bit. Don't completely unscrew it. This will come apart and it can easily go back together. It's not a big deal. But what can happen is the spring that's in here can fling off when it comes off. So just be careful that you don't completely unscrew this. So next I'm going to take a piece of stabilizer and fabric. And this is if you wanted to hoop your fabric. You don't always have to hoop your fabric. You can float it if the fabric is not as large as the hoop is, but I'm going to show you how to hoop it with your fabric first. So I have my stabilizer here and my fabric on top of it. I have the outer ring of my hoop down first, and it's good to have a flat surface as well. You don't want to do this on your lap or on the side of the machine, embroidery arm, anything like that. You want to have a flat surface. Then I'm going to take this inner piece and I'm going to, I like to try and get, make sure I'm unscrewed enough. I like to try and get the top two in first, just like that. And then what I'll do is I will smooth out with my hand right here and then just push down that bottom part. And if it's too tight, you can definitely loosen the screw a little bit and it gives it a little bit more give there. But once you do that, you're going to close the clamp. And if you meet a lot of resistance, don't force it. Just loosen the screw a little bit and then clamp it. And once you've done that, then you can tighten the screw back up. Another little tip that I learned from some of our service guys is that once you've hooped this, if you just push that inner hoop in just a little bit, like just to give you just this little bit of a ledge right there, it's like a 1/16 of an inch, and do that all the way around. There's a couple reasons for this. First, it'll set in your fabric. So if you didn't get it completely tight, that sort of sets it in, but you do want to get it as tight as you can when you first put it in there. And then it also gives it a like a smoother surface to move across your embroidery arm on. So now as this moves, the hoop is not rubbing on the embroidery arm, the stabilizer, that smooth area is. So that is how you do that. I'm going to do that one more time to show you. And you can always rewind and rewatch this as well. So I have my outer hoop here. I've got my stabilizer and fabric. I'm just going to line that up, and I will turn it to the side too sometimes. I'm going to loosen this screw now. I think I was tightening it. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the front or the bottom in first. Then I move my hand just to make sure everything's smooth and push down. And so I'm completely in right there. Then I'm going to close the little clip, tighten it if I need to. And then we're just going to push in our hoop just a little bit to give that little bitty ledge for it to move across. So there you go. That is how you hoop with your stabilizer in place. So next, I'm going to just show you a couple different hoops as well that we have and how I would hoop with them also. So next, which one am I going to show you next? Let's go back to that spring hoop, the little one here. So I have, this is like a linen napkin that I have here. I couldn't find a handkerchief like I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out. And there is a right or a wrong to this. So you can tell, you can see the 40 by 40 and the words on top. And you just sort of squeeze this a little bit and it just sets right in there just like that. So you could have your stabilizer there and then place whatever it is on top. And then you just squeeze until I find the holes, there it is, and get it lined up just like that. They also come with these little templates, hoop templates. This is a teeny tiny one here for this guy. And I'm going to show you some of the other ones here in a minute. It will be a little bit easier. But you can mark where you want your center to be, just like that here. If you wanted to, you could pre-mark it and get that in the hoop that way. And then you could design position to get your design directly in the middle. There's some different ways to do that. So this is the mini spring hoop, the 40 by 40. So this is, I think this is our smallest hoop that we have. I believe, I don't think there's anything smaller than that. So this is that one. Next, let me show you, this is just a normal 260 by 200 hoop here, but I wanted to go over the hoop templates. I had a little bit bigger template and I figured it would be easier to see. So these hoop templates have these little notches. And while I'm talking about these notches, let me mention this here. So I forgot a ruler, so I'm going to just use my paper here. You have these notches on the side right here. I'm going to get a straight line. Actually, we'll just use our hoop template right here. No, that's got a little curve on it. That's not what we want. We'll just use this and get it lined up roughly. So I'm going to mark all the way across here And it's going to be a little bit hard to see because my Friction pens. Let me see if I have a darker pen over here. Let's see what I got. Let's see if this one works. No, actually, here, we'll just use this guy. So I'm going to line this up again right here and draw all the way across. So that's going to be my horizontal line. And then what I'm going to do, you're going to see these same two notches at the top and bottom right here. So we're going to line it up again. Let me open up this paper. Pretty well reaches. So, but if you have a ruler, you can just line that up all the way across there. And we're going to just draw our straight line all the way across. So I want you to look at this right here. Let me see if I can get this straight on for you guys. That does not look like it's center, right? This horizontal line looks further down than the center of the hoop, correct? Well, there is a reason for that. I see some people asking that sometimes. Well, it's not centered, but it actually is. And the reason for that is because you have to have room in the back of your hoop for your embroidery foot. So if you think about it, if we take off this little bitty bit right here, that makes it now centered. Look at that. So that's why it is a little bit lower than what it should be. So that's going to give you your center point there. And that's what these little hoop templates are. But I wanted to do it in black so you guys could see that there. But with the hoop templates, you can line them up right here, draw your little notches, find where you want it. You can do this on whatever your project is as well. Get it where you want it, mark those little lines right there, and then we can pin that in place. So we're going to do that. I didn't plan to do this, but I'm going to go off script to show you guys this. So I'm going to take my hoop template here and say I'm just going to get a design right down here in the bottom. And here's my center line. I'm going to line it up with my corner here, get this lined up. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my Friction pen right here, mark my center. I'm going to try and draw these bold so y'all can see them when I pull this template off. And we can draw our sidelines here as well, just like that. And I can't reach the one down here at the bottom because it's off of my material, but that's okay. I'm going to use my point. So you can see those center points and everything right there. So now what I'm going to do, let me see if I've got some pins too. Just a second. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a straight pin here, one of these, and I'm going to put it through the center of my material like that. So I'm not hooping this fabric. This is floating. This is what we call floating your fabric. Then what you're going to do is you're going to find the center of your hoop like we did here, and I'm going to place my pin right there in the center. And I'm just going to leave it, and I'm going to adjust this a little bit to where it's flat and get everything lined up with those notches. If you didn't draw your lines, which you should, because that'll get you your center, and with the top up here. And once you do that, we can pin this in place just like that. And thankfully, because this is white, I can see my black line through. So I can get my orange line lined up with my black line up there. And we're just going to pin this in place. So I'm going through my fabric and my stabilizer and just coming right back up. And then you can take this one out. You could put some on the sides as well to hold it in place. And then once you take this to your embroidery machine, you would do your fixed stitch to basically baste your material or project down to your stabilizer. You could pull the pins out at that point. And you could design position if you think that's a little bit off right there and line it up directly in the middle there. So this is what we call floating. You would do floating if you had a towel or something thicker that may not fit into the hoop, or something that's a smaller size. So it could just be a quilt block that's a 6x6 square and that you're filling that space, but it doesn't fit within the hoop. So you can float it in this way versus just hooping it like that. So those are the two ways you can hoop in that way. So what hoops do we have next? I've got some I want to wait till the end. But next, let me show you our metal hoops. So these are our metal hoops, and they are a little bit different from our regular hoops. They only have one piece. There's not an inner piece the way these hoops have here. There's not an inner piece and an outer. It's just one hoop, and then you get magnets with your hoops. And you never want to use more than more than the magnets that come with your hoop. We do sell extra magnets. With some of the bigger hoops, like this one, or there's a little bit bigger one, you can use more than 4 magnets. But the smaller ones, the 120 by 120, and I think the one that's just a little bit bigger, I don't know the size off the top of my head, you really only want to use 4 magnets because it weighs it down. This is kind of hefty. This is metal. So it weighs it down and gives you some drag when it's embroidering. So try to keep to the amount of magnets that it has. But this is great if you are doing a towel. So I have a towel here that I've already embroidered on here. If you guys watched my Sew It Live on the new hold down stitches, that's where that's from. So we're going to turn it over this way. And same thing, you can find your center with these little center notches here. I think this one may have a hoop template with it. I don't remember. But this, and I have sticky stabilizer on here, and I have that just sticking to the back of my hoop here. And then you can place this where you want to, and it's going to hold in place with your sticky stabilizer. You could still pin it down if you wanted to, just to hold it where you want it. But then what you're going to do is you're going to find those corners or wherever it may be and use your magnets to hold it down just like that. So this is great for towels. This is great for if you have a quilt sandwich. I'm going to show you a quilt sandwich in a minute. You could use that in here as well. Anything that's thicker that you can't hoop, this is a great option for. So if we did not want to have this center and we didn't need all of our hoops, so let's say I want to use my little handkerchief here, because the magnetic hoops are really fun to use. I really enjoy using them often. So if I wanted to line this up, I'm going to line up my lines here that I've already marked. And what's great about the sticky stabilizer is you can get your fabric smooth. You can tell if it's right or not. So just like that in there. And it's going to stick to it. But then what we can do, we can just do our 4 little magnets over here. We don't have to go on the 4 corners. Wherever your fabric is covering, you could put the magnets down. We really don't even need these 2. Those 2 would be fine. And it's sticking to this as well. So these are the magnetic hoops. There are plenty of those. If you do not have any magnetic hoops, metal hoops, these are some of my favorite hoops to have. And these are worth putting on that wish list if you're looking for some hoops. Okay, so another one that is one of my favorite hoops, it is one of our newest hoops, is going to be the free arm hoop. So this works with our, I'm going to put these magnets over here so I don't lose them. This works with our Designer Epic 3. This is a free arm hoop. And the purpose of these hoops is for onesies, for bags, for anything that you have an opening that you don't want to have to take the seam out, and it can just slide on just like that. But this one works a little bit backwards than what we're used to. So if we go back to this hoop over here that we put our fabric in, the outer one has where the connection is, and then the inner one goes in just like that. But with this one, it's kind of backwards. And it took me a couple times to like get my brain to work in an opposite way. But for this one, this is the outer piece, and this goes in the center right there. So this is the connection that hooks on. And the reason for that is just how it connects so that it can attach to it and give you that free arm abilities. So let me show you how this works a little bit. So we're going to take this inner piece right here, and we're going to place it right in here. And you would have your stabilizer too. I'm just doing it for the purposes of showing. And you're going to roughly get it where you want it. It's really helpful when you're using the free arm hoop to do precise or a design placement here. So then we're going to push our inner piece in here, and then your little hook is over here, your little clamp. We're going to clamp that down and tighten it. And the same thing, we're just going to push just a little bit to give it a little bit of, get a little bit more tight there. So that's how you would do a bag or a onesie, shirts, so many different things to give you that free arm ability. So this is, again, one of my favorite new hoops that we have. So next, I want to show you, I've already showed you the Mega Turnable and the Majestic, but I just want to pull them up and show them to you again, how they work. So this one here is, let me move all these out of the way so I can get it all in view for you. Move them over here. So how this one works, let's see if I can even get it all in view here. Let me see if I back up just a little bit there. So now you can see. So with the Mega Turnable Hoop and with the Majestic Hoop, these are going to embroider on one side, and then you're going to turn your hoop. You're going to see two connections on the sides here. Then you're going to turn your hoop and connect it to the other side. You will notice also, does this one have it on it? This one doesn't, but let me show you on the Mega Turnable one here. This one has an A and a B. So you're going to see an A right down here in the corner, and then a B up there in this corner up here. This one's even bigger. I can't fill the screen with it. The B is going to be right there. When you connect this hoop to your machine, it's going to say A side or B side. So again, you're going to connect it, and it's got the B over here on this connection, because when we have this connected over here, it's actually doing this half, which is again the B half down here, and the same with the A over here and A over there. When you have it connected on this side, it's doing this whole side over here. So this is one of these two hoops are some of my favorite hoops. The possibility, this one and the free arm are some of my favorite. The possibilities with this hoop are almost endless because of the size. I mean, I can't imagine. The Majestic Hoop was great for me. Like, I never needed anything bigger, but now that I've had this one, I'm like, oh my goodness, why didn't I have this bigger size now? And to think that they could go bigger in the future just is unimaginable to me, but I'm sure in the future we might have a bigger one with another machine one day. But for now, this is the 450 by 450, and it is, I think it's a little bit more than 7.5 by 7.5, I think is what it is, or 17.5 inches by 17. So one of my favorite hoops as well. So let me come back over here, and there's one more hoop I want to show you. And again, I keep saying this is my favorite hoop, but then I get to the next one and this is my favorite hoop. This is another one of my favorite hoops. I'm like, you can't just have a favorite. It's like your children, right? Like, they're all your favorites. So that's how I feel about them sometimes. So this is the Endless Hoop. So let me show you right here. This is the Endless Hoop. And what makes this hoop so interesting is it's got this little clip right here that we're going to turn. And I'm just going to take this out for now. And it connects the same way. Let me show y'all here. Let's switch to this camera. So we have a couple different endless hoops. This is the larger one here. When you would use this hoop, it is for when you are doing the borders of something. It could be the border of a dress along the bottom. It could be the border of curtains. It could be the border of a quilt or a table runner. That's what you want. And you'll see when I put it back over here why you only want it on the edge, because there's not anywhere for the fabric to go. Once there's a little bit of space, but you don't want too much. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a moment. But this is going to be the Mega Turnable, or not the Mega Turnable, the Endless Hoop. I'm sorry. You'll notice this little connection here. I'll just talk about this because it does look, if you don't have an Epic 3, then you don't know what this is. This is a little hoop adapter. So if you purchase an Epic 3 or you're looking to purchase an Epic 3, you can still use all of your old hoops. They will connect with this little contraption right here. So it slides on. I'm backwards here. It slides on just like you would normally with it, but then it clips in with the new connection that we have on the Designer Epic 3. So that's what this extra little thing is over here if you're not used to seeing that. But with this hoop, what it does is you've got the little hand wheel here, and you're just going to lift that up, and you're going to get, it separates the hoop. These two don't completely separate. Like, I can't pull them apart the way I can the other hoops over there, but it lifts up for us to put whatever project it is that we're doing that we want to sew along the edge. So I'm going to connect this back onto my machine, and I'm going to show you how to put this on. So this one goes right in here. And again, because I've got that adapter, all I have to do is have that awesome connection right there. I'm going to lift the hoop up. So basically turn this so that it separates them. And I'll show you here. I've already done one side of the runner. Maybe it'll be easier to see here. I've already done this side of the runner. And this is just a table runner that I made. I used my Memento, and I cut all of the pieces out with Memento, sewed it together, added a border. I have it sandwiched. So I have, excuse all my threads that I need to feed back in because I did some design positioning. I'll show you here in a minute. So I have my quilt batting and then my backing as well. So this is my quilt sandwich. You could have a finished quilt. You could have your binding on it and everything like that. And you could go in here and do this as well as you wanted to. I'm going to add in, I'm going to use my metal hoop and add in some designs into my triangles as well. So let's come back over here. So the next part I need to do is going to be right here. So I've already done 2 and I need to just keep it going. When you use an endless hoop, it gives you these 2, I can't think of what, they're just little guide markers. So if you look right here, you guys can see, I have a little place marker, and this easily comes out. It's just like a little basting stitch that it goes back and forth. That's the second one, and then this is the first one up here. So I'm going to align, I'm going to design position my design to line up with this so that it will evenly keep all lining up. I need to cut that thread there. But you can see that I've done this twice here, and you can't even tell where the start and finish is, only based off of my little mark right here. So this is 2 designs. It's 3 flowers at a time. So we're going to put this on here, but let me go back to saying why we couldn't necessarily do the middle of something. It's just a little bit more difficult. So when you get this on, let me get my arm out of the way here in a second, and you clamp this in, it has to have, all of your fabric over here has to have somewhere to go. So if I wanted to do, I wouldn't actually do this, but it's a little bit cumbersome to pull this around over here. So if I wanted to line that up, now I've got all this material that's in the way right here, and I've got to keep that out of the way. So you could do it if you wanted to, but really the purpose for this hoop is to be able to put it right here on the edge like this. I'm going to scoop this up a little bit and watch my head. Sorry. I'm trying to see up under here. Get this lined up just like that. And I try and get it as straight as I can. You'll notice also there are some line notches on it that give you a little bit of reference when you're getting things placed. But what's really helpful is having that design positioning to line up those notches or those markers that I had up here to get them in place. So I'm going to turn on my projection really quick. So you're going to see this go down, and I'm going to go to exact positioning. Hold on, and I'll make it so you can see more of this design over here. So give me 1 second. There it goes. So now you can see a little bit more of my design right here. So what I could do technically is I could get my little marker, my start marker from my design that's projecting down right here. I could technically just line this up right there with that notch there. But if my project is not straight, which I can tell it's not, it's sort of is going at an angle outward this way. So I'm going to exact position. I'm going to go to my first point on my screen, and I don't have a camera angle for my screen today. So just bear with me. I'm just going to get these lined up, but I'm going to talk you through it. And in that hooping live, I'm pretty sure I do. It was over a year ago that I did it, but I'm pretty sure I do exact positioning. But we have plenty of lives on exact positioning. Feel free to search on our Facebook or YouTube. It's so simple to do and something I feel like people sometimes forget about. So I found my first point on my screen, which is going to be that starting point, the little crossed over notch there. And now I'm going to line that up. That's pretty close right there. I'm going to just scooch it over just a little bit. So I'm going to use my arrows and adjust it just a little bit right there. So I have my first point in place. Now I'm going to go to step number 3 on my screen, and I'm going to find my next point, which I want my finishing little notch marker right here. I want that to be my second point, because what I'm doing as my reference is I'm getting those notch points lined up along the white, the edge right here. So I've got a consistency across the board. So now I'm going to go to step 4, and it's going to move it down. If I roll my needle down, you can tell I'm a little bit to the right here. So I'm actually going to move my needle a little bit to the left, just a couple stitches. And it's just pivoting off of my fixed point up here. And once I get that where I want it, I'm going to touch my check mark, and it brings me back to embroidery mode. So I'm just going to get this going just a little bit so you can sort of see how this works. Let me get it back to the beginning of the design because I was doing a couple of these. And one more. So what it's going to do now is it's going to do my little notches, my little reference, and I can make sure that they are overlapping like they should. And those easily, again, come out. Now it's going to come over and start embroidering. Just like that. So it seamlessly went. Nope, hold on. I got caught up a little bit there. There we go. It seamlessly is lining up all of where I finished the last design with the next design here. And I'm just going to keep on going there. So again, this is the endless hoop and how it connects and comes apart and get things lined up. So I could move, if I had a bigger border and it filled up more of the space, I could adjust this a little bit, but I have a smaller border here that I was doing because it was already pretty wide. And so I've got it all the way to the edge over here. And because I have my front piece, my batting, and my backing, that's enough stability for me to get this embroidered. So I don't really need any more stabilizer or anything like that. So again, we talk about all of the different, I'm going to stop this here. We talk about all of our favorite hoops, but honestly, it depends on what you're doing. When it's my favorite hoop or not. Whatever type of project I'm doing, whether it's the border of a table runner or I'm wanting to do something extra large in the Mega Turnable or something really fine and small in the mini spring hoop, they can all be great hoops just depending on what project you're doing. So just keep that in mind. And there's multiple hoops for different things too. I could easily do this border with my metal hoop as well. I could do this border with the normal hoops that I was showing you at the beginning. You have that ability and that flexibility. But when you have something that's made for borders or made for something more tiny and dainty, definitely it's worth having. It's helpful and makes things a lot easier to use in that way. So thank you for joining me.